Great. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another one of our manufacturing technology working group meetings. We have over a dozen folks on the call right now. Our critical mass has been closer to 30, so I'm sure folks will be joining us momentarily. Today is our 8th meeting together. Again, we've been on this journey since late August when we kicked this off. So as we do each time, we'll start out by level setting with an agenda, any announcements or roundtable that we'd want to cover from some of our core leadership team and out there in the audience as well. We have 2 i4.0 provider spotlights today. So Dr. Karen Birch will be speaking on behalf of the Connecticut State College University System, as well as the Next Gen Manufacturing Center. And then Catherine Marks will be speaking about Small Business Association. We'll break out into work streams. Our 2 work stream groups, outreach and resources, will remain here together in the main room. And then our VSM value stream mapping folks will be tossed over into a separate breakout room, because next week when we convene again, they will be giving an outbrief on where they're at. And so we've been speaking about this convergence that will be happening as we are nearing the end of this year with all of the work and discussions that we've had up to date. So again, as a reminder, this is one of those weeks where we will have back-to-back simply because of the holidays. So for those of you returning after the Thanksgiving and other holiday celebrations, hopefully you've had time to rest and relax before jumping back into the work week, as we are now in the first week of December. So again, we'll be meeting up next week again, and then we'll have a pause until early January when we all convene together. So I'll take a pause to see if Beatrice or Jeff or Senator Hartley have any remarks, announcements, roundtable, what's going on out there in the market that we all should be cognizant of. And then we could also open it up to everyone else, all of our other participants, if there's any, again, announcements or sharing of knowledge that we want to do before we really get into our agenda here.
So Jess, morning. I just wanted to say, Jackie, and to the team, thanks again for the amazing amount of work that we've gotten to this point. Started in August, and it's been an unbelievable undertaking. The legislature is teeing up to begin short session, which will be first week of February. But in that time frame, the Commerce Committee will also be convening the Manufacturing Caucus, which this group is pivotal to. So I just share that with you in terms of, prepping for whatever message, legislative initiatives and so forth that would be important to bring forward, because it is from that group that the Commerce Committee crafts usually the manufacturing section of its legislative work. Thank you, Jackie.
Jackie, just one thing. I just wanted to, I think we mentioned it last time, but I just wanted to again express how impressed I was by the work that we had here. We did here in the CBI building for the value stream mapping, where we had the companies and also some of the providers. We had CCSU, we had UHeart participating very actively on trying to help us complete that work. It was really educational for me, and I think for everyone in the team, and I'm looking forward to having all that work documented and brought up forward. So thank you again.
Great, we're excited to have the outbrief that's going to take place next week when we convene. I think I messed up my slides here, so I'm going to have to flip through quickly because our service provider schedule is outlined here. So again, next week we will have the outbrief of the VSM. Then again, for those of you that are listed here on these certain dates, please do check your calendars. Hopefully there is a lot of white space for you in the new year, so there shouldn't be any conflicts. But if there are, please just do let Jeff or myself know, and we'll adjust the schedule accordingly. So hearing nothing else, with any other announcements, I know that there's certainly a lot that's going on a day-to-day, but happy to be able to have the time to provide updates from two of our i4.0 service providers. So up first will be Dr. Karen Birch to talk about the College of Technology and the Manufacturing Center. So Karen, please take it away.
Thank you, Jackie. Great to be here this morning and be able to share some of what we have going on with within our Connecticut State Colleges and University system. So we actually have an entity called the College of Technology, which quite frankly has been in existence for almost 20 years, yet it still sometimes seems to be one of the best kept secrets. So the COT is really a collaboration between all 12 community colleges and now 10 private and public universities. Central is part of this pathway program, as well as University of Hartford. And we're really, usually I show a map where I compare us to Texas, because as much as we're a small state, we're quite mighty in terms of the partnerships that make up this educational collaboration. So we really are basically using stackable credentials. And the original actually idea of creating the COT was just to make sure students had access to technology and engineering careers, starting with community colleges, but also allowing opportunities for them to continue their education as they so choose. Subsequently, all of our manufacturing programs that you probably have heard of or know about, like at Nantucket and Gateway and Housatonic, et cetera, we have pretty impressive manufacturing centers located at our two-year institutions, and they offer anywhere from 7 to 8 week certificates up to 1 year certificates, all part of the College of Technology. So what this means is that these students receive college credit that fit into a career path that can lead to an associate's degree that is then transferable to bachelor's degrees and even further on after that point. So I think that's really great when we're looking at access, because that's one of, I think, really one of our roles is to try to increase the diversity of the workforce, addressing Industry 4.0 relative to gender and ethnicity. So often we know some of our students, especially with community colleges, might be, coming back to college or looking to get some of those credentials to get into the workforce. And that's a primary goal, is to get a job. But we say, no, we want to make sure you have a career, and that career is basically not going to be dead-ended. So that's our whole concept of stackable credentials. The new term, I don't know if I want to call it that, but micro-credentials seems to be big right now, and badges, being able to identify with industry what KSAs are necessary for certain jobs, and then packaging them into, small groups so students can earn a badge, and then a group of badge can be a micro-credential that also can receive college credit towards ultimately degrees. So we have lots of options that are driven by industry regionally. We are currently working with the different sector partnerships that have been in existence, and then further, I think, expanded with Office of Workforce Strategies. But some of our programs are mechatronics, the machine technology, welding, electromechanical maintenance, you name it. Probably if an industry has approached us, we've worked very closely to identify what curriculum would be needed, what skill sets are needed, and how can we partner to address that workforce need. So I just wanted to give you kind of a big picture of what the College of Technology is. And again, in this last, year and a half, with Colin Cooper being hired to be our manufacturing czar, with the Office of Workforce Strategy, Constep, we've got so much going on in Connecticut. That's very exciting for us in terms of ways that we can really, I think, leverage what each one of us is doing, and really prepare that workforce that's critical for Connecticut and its economy. We're also part of the CMC, which is that Connecticut Manufacturers Collaborative, which I just saw is going to be presenting in 2022. But again, that represents manufacturing associations across the state. And it's great because they're all together, they meet monthly. And I really feel we're moving the needle relative to making sure that we know what every one of us is doing, because that's always been a challenge. And I've seen that, I've been doing this for quite a while. You'll go to a meeting and you find out that the person next to you is doing an initiative that is really complementary to something that you have on your particular goals. And it's like, why not do this together? Why not make sure that we can, have a broader impact? Next slide. Okay, so I mentioned the micro-credentials. I did want to mention that, again, our focus is on engineering and technology with College of Technology. And this past, I want to say 6 months, maybe even a little bit less than that, we've really been moving rapidly relative to establishing partnerships with Google, Amazon, most recently with Intel. And Intel is going to be using their artificial intelligence curriculum. So super excited about that. We just really completed or had the approval to be able to access their curriculum that will be turnkey for the community colleges. And we're also working now with IBM in terms of some college credit curriculum. So this all is super important for manufacturing, for Industry 4.0, because when you're looking at what is Industry 4.0, we're really looking at things becoming, or if they're not already, digital. And how do we really, look at that machine learning and how the equipment that we're using is now, in many cases, not going to be, is not manual. We do work with non-credit and credit, and try to work closely with, apprenticeships, looking at incumbent workers, the unemployed. We even have been working with the prisons in terms of, again, providing access. I know I'm singing to the choir here, but we all know the job opportunities in manufacturing are just unparalleled, maybe IT and health as well, but they're just great careers. And there's so many different entry levels that, we can hopefully upskill individuals that need those skills in order to actually get employment that's going to give them a new life in many cases and pay the bills. We recently partnered with GE Appliance in Stamford. So if you haven't been following that, GE is back in Connecticut, and they're going to put in, actually it's being finalized as we speak, a center that's called Co-Create. And they actually reached out to the community colleges. And right now we have 9 students being interviewed for potential internships starting in January. So, again, these are all good examples of just ways that it's a win-win. It's a win-win for industry, it's a win-win for our students, and it's a win-win for Connecticut. New England Board of Higher Ed and the Business and Higher Education Forum with Stanley Black & Decker. We've been actually working on this for quite a while. We started before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit and everything kind of went south, but we actually dusted it off and started it over again. And we actually now really have micro-credentials that will be offered through the community colleges, again, looking at a digital technician. So with that being said, I think it's important for me to frame our National Science Foundation funding. We've been very fortunate going back to 2004 to receive funding from the National Science Foundation to create, at that time, what was called the Regional Center for Next Generation Manufacturing. We've had 4 rounds of funding to continue that regional center. And this year, actually, it's going to be sunsetted for 2 reasons. One is in 2018, we already received funding to transition it into a resource center. But more exciting, this year, in 2021, we received an award from the National Science Foundation to be the, and I mean capital letters, THE, the Manufacturing Center for Next Generation Manufacturing for community colleges across the United States. And the focus is on Industry 4.0. So it was $7.5 million with the ability to renew it for another $7.5 million. But, just being on this particular committee and all that's going on, we're just so excited about, the recognition, that we received in this award, but even more significantly is what that is going to allow us to be able to do as we implement our goals and objectives. So I wanted to briefly talk about that National Center. The idea is to, again, create this National Manufacturing Leadership Network. Also, we're going to be looking at a national repository. We're very excited about that MIF funding. And I know I saw a presentation on Tuesday by Colin Cooper talking about, we're going to have hopefully a repository for Connecticut where everyone, all the information and great work we're doing and resources will be in one place, which will be fabulous. But I'm hoping to be able to take what Connecticut is doing as a model and use it for this national initiative. We're also including faculty and instructor professional development. Had a conversation this morning with CCAT, looking at a series of, again, professional development activities for K through 12 teachers, but also community college and university faculty, and awarding those badges or those micro-credentials, and again, providing college credit that, can be used either for, promotion, or who knows, maybe for another degree. And image, this is such a challenge. I've been very passionate about, basically trying to get more females involved in manufacturing, as well as increase just the diversity and the engagement of underrepresented populations. And we're still struggling with, just people not understanding what manufacturing is about, and, just the technology that goes into this, and the basically just how most of it is digital and it's clean and it's not, I know, again, saying things that we all know, but that image is still a challenge. And, there's lots of initiatives, outreach activities that we're actually working collaboratively with all of our partners across Connecticut, but now nationally, to, again, constantly pound that pavement and really look at, what those opportunities are. So our partners on the center, the primary, I want to say primary only because there are leads relative to, the co-PIs on the grant is College of the Canyons in California, Columbus State Community College in Ohio, Central Community College in Nebraska, and Indian State College in Florida. And Beatrice would be happy to know that we're also working nationally with the MEPs. So we're hoping to, further, do partnerships with Constep, but we're looking at models of ways to further strengthen that MEP/educational relationship. We're also working with the Manufacturing USA Institutes, our College of Technology, and our regional center. Before we became now national, we're actually on several of those workforce boards for the Manufacturing USA Institutes. There's 14, and I believe we're on 4 of the 14 institute workforce boards. And then last but not least, making sure that industry is front and center. We are not doing this in isolation. This is not silos in a community college faculty office or a university office. We really want to make sure that we are responding to what industry needs, and that our students graduate with the skill sets necessary, to, hit the ground running, get into that workforce, and really, be just putting Connecticut on the map relative to what we're doing with Industry 4.0. So that's my snapshot, and I could go on forever, but this is it. And, I really think if there's any questions, I'm certainly, I don't know, Jackie, if you allow for questions right now, but
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, please don't hesitate to contact me. My contact information is over there in the blue, kwazina@comnet.edu. I realize it's a little bit of a challenge to remember my name, part of it, or spell it. I used to say, I almost had every consonant, when I had my full name in elementary school. So, I learned the alphabet very quickly. But any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I look forward to next steps with all of you as we move these initiatives forward. Everybody's quiet.
I'm monitoring to see if any hands are raised. There hasn't been anything in the chat.
I have a quick question,
Great.
Karen. And, this amazing. I mean, a lot of work. I'm trying to understand a little bit of how is that structure around the school. So for example, is the best engagement to go to you and then you'll identify the resource? Or, you know, I'm just a little confused about what's the best way to engage with all those resources.
I would say to contact me. And then our College of Technology, if you know the infrastructure for that, all of our partners, so it's all 12 community colleges, 10 universities. We also have the tech high schools at the table, as well as industry is invited. We meet monthly. In fact, we have a meeting this Friday. So for example, Beatrice, if you contacted me and you said, oh, you might even want to do a presentation at one of those meetings, or if there's a grant application or something that you see that you could leverage the work that we're doing, we definitely would put it out at the COT meeting. And sometimes out of the 12 community colleges, for example, there might be 3 or 4 of the faculty there that might say, I'm already doing that, or I want to get more involved and roll up my sleeves and dive deeper. So that's one of the reasons, be honest, how we've been so successful is that it's a very dynamic collaboration. So, you know, those monthly meetings are huge in terms of our ability to, you know, share information, but also respond to questions like the one that you just posed. So start with me, and then I will, you know, take it from there and see who would like to connect with any kind of initiative. For example, I'm working right now with Michelle Hall on, there's a couple of grants that we're looking at, and it's with DECD. So same kind of thing, like, okay, what do we need? And maybe we even identify specific community colleges. But again, I think often with the grants, I use the whole system approach because I think it makes our grants much more competitive.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, but anything, don't hesitate to email me. I'm happy to see what we can do and, you know, work together.
Going through this initiative together as this working group and knowing that, you know, the center here in Connecticut is really going to be the national focus for i4.0. You know, it's as we're moving forward from discussion and deliberation to more action and deployment. For me, I would love to be able to leverage and lean on and pull all of those resources, right? So if Connecticut is that dot on the map and it's like we're leading the way, both in the academic space across all of those different institutions, in the manufacturing ecosystem with our small to medium-sized businesses, plus some of our larger organizations as well. I'm curious if, you know, these colleges and community colleges that you're partners with, is there any other state that's really leading the charge in i4.0, Karen, that you know, who should we really be looking at, if not internally to Connecticut? Because there is a lot going on here, but are there other states that light up on the map?
Well, we picked those, and again, that is just a small representation of the partners. In fact, I'm happy to share this with you. We have like a 2-page list of different areas of, you know, we took Industry 4.0 and split up in terms of manufacturing focuses. In fact, or I should say foci, is that the right word? But basically, we did an industry survey saying, okay, what should we be looking for in terms of what types of skills we should be including in our manufacturing programs and where it might be moving? Because here's the honest truth. We don't even know in 5 years what some of those skills are going to be, you know, in terms of how fast technology is moving, and also, you know, what we need to be integrating into our curriculum. So there are other states without question. We chose these 4 mostly because the principal investigators that are on this grant in terms of our senior leadership team already had a track record in Industry 4.0, either in plastics. One is in supply chain, another one is doing the whole machining. You know, so we did our homework in terms of trying to take a look at, all right, who's already, doing things that are being recognized, to answer your question. But on the same token, we also reached out to colleges, community colleges that, maybe are not, readily recognized, but are in a position to move forward. So other states, again, this is national, even though I'm only listing, 4 other states there. I think that, and to some extent, I would say Texas would be a state that's got a lot going on in addition to this. And we do have, leadership that is part of the grant from Texas as well. And I'm trying to think, I don't know. I think those are the leads, but I don't want you to think that that's it, because it is a national center. So we are pulling in through our networks, almost any state that might have something, that they would want to be focusing on. And it's different areas of manufacturing. So to be honest with you, automotive, so if you were going to get into automotive, I would probably even look at, South Carolina. So I think we're in a real good position to be able to say, okay, what is a focus we'd like to get more information on, and could very easily pull up, especially for relative to community colleges, who's doing what and how might we want to tap into what they have available.
Great, thank you for that. Alrighty, seeing or hearing nothing else, then we'll move on to, I see the chat lighting up here. Thank you for those kudos. Karen, you want to look at the chat?
Oh, thank you. Thanks. And
All right,
University of Hartford, and I know that Dr. Toro is on this too, both University of Hartford and Central, I do want to say they were part of the COT when it was first even created, and they've been fabulous partners, without question.
Excellent, thank you. So next up, we have Catherine Marks to talk about SBA. So Catherine, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having us on this committee. We are excited about the committee and about the one source that's going to come out of the committee. I am Catherine Marks with the federal agency, the United States Small Business Administration. We like to say that we are a small agency who could, can, and will continue to deliver to the entrepreneurs and small businesses. We've had a tremendous impact on Connecticut in the past 2 years dealing with the COVID. And in some ways, we were the best known secret, but now people know who we are, and we would like them to stick with us and learn more about the other resources that we have so that we can help our companies grow, expand, and recover here in Connecticut. And as we're talking to this group, help our technology companies. It is very difficult for me to do what the entire agency is capable of in 10 minutes, but I will take that challenge and quickly go through this one PowerPoint. Number one of the best things that we can do as the agency is connect our manufacturers with our resource partners. No matter what stage a manufacturing company is in, whether they're trying to expand, they're a family business working to maneuver some of the nuances that family-owned businesses have, whether they are struggling, whether they are trying to relocate. We have resource partners throughout the state that are willing to help. And what is phenomenal about these resource partners is they bring all different types of expertise to the table. And most importantly, they are mainly free to our manufacturers. So when we talk about the resource partners, the service providers getting together and coming up with one source, the SBA resource partners are a key metric in that. They come in a variety of sizes. We have the Small Business Development Center that is throughout the state, almost in every single chamber. We have the SCORE, which are experienced volunteers that offer their expertise to a business, an entrepreneur. We have 6 chapters here in Connecticut. We have the business we have the Business Center at the University of Hartford. We have the Women's Business Development Center, 4 locations. And we also have our Veterans Business Outreach. So our resource partner network, again, is there to give free advice for any stage of a business to help them get through different aspects that can be very challenging, or simply to help them get a better business plan for them to expand and move forward. The SBA is also very much known for our guaranteed loans and our guaranteed products. And this can have a very integral part to play in our manufacturing in Connecticut. We have a number of different types of products. And again, I could talk 2 hours just on these 2 bullets. But our guaranteed products go through our SBA lenders, which are our financial institutions in Connecticut, in the region, and throughout the state. For our traditional 7A loan program, our 504 loan program actually can help a manufacturer buy and expand a physical building. So I know of a manufacturer in Connecticut that used a 504 program to buy a new facility, expand into another town, and we're very excited about that. The next 2 programs that I have on the slide are our SBA Express program and our CAP lines. These are 2 of the programs that people are not familiar with, but I put them on there because I think these are very, very important for our manufacturing industry. The SBA Express program is just that. It's an express program. It is a fast-moving loan program. We're still working with our SBA lenders. It's $500,000. It can move very quickly for the needs of a manufacturer or an entrepreneur. The CAP line program is within our 7A program. I spiked it out here for a very specific purpose because it can help businesses when they are trying to fund a large contract. Funding for access to capital can be very difficult, especially with large contracts, and that's where our CAP line can come into play. Every business starts out small. There's no business that didn't start out small. So of course we have our micro lending program, and our Community Advantage program is really meant to tap into the underserved community with some micro loans. So again, we're known for our guaranteed loans and micro loans, and there is a lot more there under the hood. And what we want to do is when this group comes up with that one plan, that we make sure that the SBA is part of the plan where our growing manufacturing ecosystem can get the funding that it needs. Another very important program where we want to, again, help small businesses grow and expand, and that is in export assistance and export lending. We have a lot to offer here, and I think we have a lot of progress to make to getting this product out there and people talking about it and coming to us and getting that information. Of course, we have the state trade expansion program, acronym of STEP, that we work with the state of Connecticut on. In addition, we have an Export Express and an Export Working Capital, again, funding, getting capital into the hands for the specific purposes of exporting. And then we also have international trade loans. So there is funding out there through the SBA to help businesses grow and expand through exporting and through international trade. The next bullet point is government contracting. Again, we could talk for hours and hours about government contracting, but there's no better place in Connecticut where we can make those contacts. We're a small and mighty state, and the government is the largest purchaser of all goods and services in the world. in the world. So one of the easiest ways for a manufacturer to grow and expand is to get into government contracting, and don't be afraid of it. It's not a black hole. We are there to walk beside you. We do that with our resource partners, with the state of Connecticut, PTAC, and this is just an easy, not an easy, but it's a good way to grow and expand. One of the best things a company can do can automatically get into the system for awards management system, sam.gov. That's not sams.gov, that's not sam.com, it's not sam.gov.com, it's sam.com. We want companies to get into that system and start their government contracting. Within the government contracting, we also have a 9-year business development program, very unique, just an incredible program. We have some great manufacturers in Connecticut that are in this program, and we're very proud of them. And they are going through the program. They are getting their government contracts. They are hiring. They are expanding. They are growing. So the 8A business program is very important for our government contracting segment. We have a mentor protege program. And of course, we have our certification programs. By law, when the government works with federal agencies to buy goods and services, 25% of all government prime contracts need to be with certified programs. So we can help get you certified, whether you're a woman's own small business, a small disadvantaged business, a service disabled veteran owned business, or you have a business in a hub zone. Let us help you get that certification to give you that opportunity to get those federal contracts. That is money in the door. Again, what's that going to do? That's going to help you grow. That's going to help you expand. And we're going to have a stronger manufacturing ecosystem here in Connecticut. And last but not least, when the SBA was established, one of the primary reasons we were established was to provide disaster assistance. Currently in the state of Connecticut, for those of you who don't know, we have a presidential declaration for the Hurricane Ida, Declaration 17258, where we will go in and help a business that was affected by Hurricane Ida, get a business loan, or work with our family partners in FEMA to get them their assistance that they need. And there is no bigger disaster assistance that has happened in the agency than the COVID-19 disaster. This was an economic and disaster that the SBA has had a unprecedented impact. Here in Connecticut, what does that mean? That means that we have provided over $13.6 billion in funding. Yes, $13.6 billion in funding. That has come through our COVID economic injury disaster loan. That has come through our Shuttered Venues Operator Grant, our Restaurant Revitalization Fund, and both Paycheck Protection programs. We are happy to provide those assistance to our companies, to our manufacturers here in Connecticut, but there is more that we can do, again, to help our manufacturing system thrive in 2021 and beyond. And we are just thrilled to be part of this group and part of the resource services system of this working group. Thank you very much.
So I'm just gonna, Jackie, I'm just gonna put a pitch there for SBA because obviously we were partners for a long time at the ECD, and I do encourage the manufacturers on the call to really check it out. There are many services through this partnership, and the STEP grant is always very flexible. We do the big shows, like, but now that the trade shows are not as popular because of COVID, there's always opportunities to be very to customize it to what the customer needs. And they have great people and a lot of different resources. One question that I have for you is what's the best contact? SBDC, start with SBDC if you're small, or go directed to SBA, or?
Right. So what we like to do at the district office, and just like our agency, the district office is small, but we're very strong. Come to us and let us help you, because many times it's just the navigation of the government agencies, the navigation of what's on this screen of all our products. So in some instances, we'll send someone, we'll do a direct copy to them to SBDC, our Small Business Development Center, but we also at the same time want them to register in sam.gov and talk to PTAC. So we are very willing to take that call, sba.gov, and you can get directly to the district office. You can also follow us on Twitter and connect with us that way. But many times, when I just had someone this morning from Waterbury, Senator Hartley, reach out to me. They wanted to expand. And, I know exactly what program they need. I talked to them about the 504 program, and then I also sent them to a resource partner. So a lot of times they're going to need more than one touch to get to their level of success.
Thanks.
I was B beat me to it and sort of sharing that we really enjoy our partnership at CT Next, working a lot with your local SBDC here. So we ourselves are federal grant recipients as an organization, and we are registered on sam.gov. So we've, check one. But, really you as a collective team have been really great regional partners for us here in the state, working with companies of various industry. One of the things that I think is really interesting that you did touch on a little bit, but I'll just, hammer home from the perspective of some anecdotal real experience, are a lot of the tools that through the SBDC in particular, our companies, again, agnostic to their industry, have found some real value in. There's a lot of they don't know what they don't know, and making efficiencies more streamlined in their businesses. So for manufacturers that are on the call, many of you have been doing things really efficiently for years and years and years, but those sort of gut checks to iterate to continue to refine that method long term is really interesting. And a lot of our companies, again, not specifically manufacturing, but in various fields across industry sectors, have found those to be really effective. So thanks to you for the work there at the SBA, and really a nod very specifically to the localized partners here in the SBDC, because they've been just tremendous as an extension of some of the on the ground resources here.
Yeah. We like to say that they're just an extension, that they can extend their arm much further than we can into the 169 silos that exist in Connecticut. But the SBDC in particular has some proprietary programming that I think is just fabulous when someone is looking for marketing ideas and or relocation ideas.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, we have about 15 minutes left of our time together. I know that a few individuals have had to drop and also have a hard stop at 12. So I think at this time we're going to pivot. And so Jeff will take the VSM group into a separate breakout room. The rest of us will hang here in the main room, and we'll revisit our workings for both of our collective work streams for outreach and resources. So just give us a couple of moments to get everyone situated and where they need to be.
Thank you, Jackie.
So I see we have about a dozen of us here, and Jeff's not here, so that means that he went into the other room. So a bit of a small crew today. I have a bit of my cheat sheet, so I'm going to pull up my slides again just to reiterate or remind us where we have been. And so, Jessica, I know that you were absent last session and we had Michael Invernale on your team representing CT Next. And with the remaining of the time that we had together during our last session before Thanksgiving, it was an opportunity for our two separate work streams to come together and level set. So I had presented this framework that you see here specifically for outreach, and of course our resources really are going to be pulled into here. So I wanted to just I said last time that I'm a bit done talking, right? We want to start moving forward into really taking action and working more in the development of whatever collateral of resources that we want to start to populate. And then we are going to be converging with the value stream mapping team, presenting to us their outbrief of what the current status really of the state of Connecticut across the manufacturing ecosystem is presently, and then next steps in moving forward. So I don't really have much apart from, revisiting this slide and maybe just having a bit of conversation. If folks wanted to ask any questions to level set, I feel as though I'm showing up not doing my homework because I, as an action-oriented person, want to be able to, have something in front of you. But this is my body of work for right now, and I do appreciate the fact that Senator Hartley, you had said that moving forward, we do want to have, talking points and material to then present to the legislators. So I think as supplementary to that, between now and whenever that meeting occurs in the February timeframe over the next several weeks, we'll be working on pulling that together. So I'll take a pause just to stop talking and maybe do a bit of listening. And if we really don't have much to say, then I'm okay with giving you back some more of your time, because we had a really informative and robust full presentation from both Karen and Catherine. So thank you both for that.
Jackie, if I might. So, and this might be a little bit off script, but Catherine brought up a very interesting point that I wanted to kind of follow up on. That was also a subject that came up on Thursday's economic summit that I think many of us were at, and that is the subject of exportation. And Catherine, you talked about the services that SBA has on that. And I'm wondering if that is something that may or should possibly be also brought to the forefront in our discussion of, trying to provide, this seamless platform for, in particularly our, small size manufacturers. I think one of the panelists talked about the fact that, COVID was a lot of things, but one of the things that was a learning opportunity. And we are, never going back to pre-COVID. And what we've now find ourselves with is this new world where business is, in many instances, going to be virtual, and that so many small businesses have not dipped their toe into this kind of international market, but clearly, have the ability to have a presence there.
Yeah, Senator Hartley, I'll echo a lot of what you said. I think it's an area that my team doesn't talk about enough. And granted, we've been, we've been a little bit busy here, but it's an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to showcase the assistance that we can bring. So I think when Jackie, when you're making that one-stop shop, I think that should be, well, this is just my opinion. It should be included in some way. And as we look at the other service providers, do they, like the SBA, have some specific areas of expertise or ability to help our manufacturers expand through exporting and international trade?
Coming from a world of aero and defense before joining CCAT, a lot of the export was hardware, right? Like the material things you can put your hands on. But now, especially in the virtual world, and as we're talking more specifically about i4.0 and data and software and, the digitization, technical data, how you're sharing of information with, non-US persons, entities in different parts of the world. I think that that's important. So we should add that certainly to a list of resources of, because I don't know if all manufacturing companies, if they're quite small, will have a strong legal arm to know about exports, and especially if they then want to get into that world to become more of in the global market. So I'm capturing that as certainly a note. And I don't know if Jill or Chris or anyone else on the line wants to chime in on that topic.
This is Karen. From an educational perspective, I do want to at least share with you that we're working both with the French embassy and the German embassy and have partnerships for our students and faculty, where right now we're doing some collaborative online courses together, but also, well, pre-pandemic, we physically actually went to both countries and did 2 to 4 week internships for, again, students and faculty. So again, I know it's not quite this, it's the same topic in terms of international, but I do think it's something worth mentioning because it's important for our students to understand international trade and the fact that, again, it's, what they do and the companies they might be working for often have a international presence. So.
Jackie, I was just going to chime in. Bead's a small company. We're about 20 million. We do about 40% in international. And when we first set it up, we did go through the SBA. And now we pretty much just use our tax accountants for international taxes and different sort of, regulations and whatnot. But it's been set up since then. So I don't know if your question was kind of what small manufacturers use as a resource or how much business they do internationally or not, but maybe that's helpful.
It is, yes, thank you.
Maybe, I don't know, Chris, but with the CMC, does this conversation ever come up, and do we hear from, our small manufacturers that they feel like, that's an untapped market? It's something that, maybe it's a bandwidth issue again. I'm just wondering from, CMC's lens.
Yeah, Senator Hartley, I just want to say after Jill said that, it's kind of interesting that it doesn't, I would say it does not come up really on the CMC call from the members much. And that may just be because, those 8 associations are representing about 2,500 of Connecticut's manufacturers. And I'm curious if maybe the majority are not exporting and more domestically focused. And so it's not a hot topic for individual members, ship companies, and then therefore it's not a hot topic for the CMC. There hasn't been like a craving of, let's have Catherine or Melissa Grosso from the Department of Commerce talk to the CMC so that they could get educated, talk to their members. Now, it also, Senator Hartley, just be, people don't know what they don't know. So I could certainly take that action. Jill's on those calls too, and so is B, and Jackie is. I could take the action to, discuss that with the CMC about would this be a topic of interest and have have Catherine there, have Melissa Grosser there, because they're kind of the tag team of export, all things export, to educate the CMC.
Another idea, Chris, would be to add that question to our survey the next time we do one. And so we can get an idea of the membership, of how much are domestic versus international.
Yeah, and we just started, Senator Hartley, you may have heard on the last call, we just started sharing the CMC call again, kind of best practices that individual associations are doing, so they could share it with the other 8 associations that are on the call. And I'll think about if there's one association, maybe Catherine can help me with this, that's kind of doing a lot around export, and what are they doing to educate their membership or to work with their members directly. And then maybe we could use that as a best practice. I know ACM is probably doing a lot, as Jackie said, because of engine manufacturers is the largest, I think, export in Connecticut.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if it's, untapped potential, how we stack up as a state, are we leaving something on the table? It just,
Yeah, it's been talked about before too. This isn't a new thing from COVID. I know when we've had, because I used to do a lot of exporting, Jill does, Jackie is involved in the past. It seems like when we have these export conferences, when they used to be in London, when Ann Evans was there, it was the same folks who were doing a lot of exporting, and it was always tough to educate the small, mid-sized guys about the opportunity. The STEP grant, what I would call the STEP grant that Catherine talked about, I think it's a great entry to it because it really can be used for a lot of things, and we have tried to advertise that in the past, but let's revisit it. I think it's worth revisiting.
I'm sorry, I just came from the other meeting, but it is an area of opportunity for the state to really focus on that. Part of the challenge has been that DECD does not focus in trade directly. DEOC does, the Department of Commerce, the UCX, but they also have very limited resources people-wise. So there's a lot of opportunity to work together and bring others to really connect people. So it became more of the, in my experience, and I was with DECD and international, it became more around aerospace because that's where the big show is. But there's a lot of opportunity to really bring those resources and educate people on the other areas that can be access through the different resources. One of them being, for example, the chance to, if a company is going abroad, they can work with the Department of Commerce to get an itinerary, a local itinerary through the embassies and get it clear. And a lot of people don't know about that. And it's very inexpensive, like $400, and they will bet the people you're meeting with and your agendas for the day. So those little nuggets, if you're not into that type of work, you just don't know about it. So I think there's always an opportunity to teach more and to get more information out to the companies.
yeah.
Great. So we just hit noon. I know that there's some folks that are not a part of our core team. So I will say thank you to Catherine and Karen for giving us your time and presentations. Very informative, I know, especially for myself. So thank you for that. And so for you both and Chris, we'll bid you adieu and have a good day. And we'll see you on the other side.
Yep. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.
So I know
Are we singing here for the debrief call, or was there a
I
different
believe
link?
so. Yeah.